Soothing. Hey, Susan, how do we turn these lights on? Yeah. Thank you. Sorry to make you get up right after you said it.
Thank you, Maddie. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Channing Unitarian Universalist Church. Glad you joined us for worship today. Whoever you are, whatever your theological, spiritual, political, sexual, or racial orientation or gender identity, you are welcome to worship here. Part of this. And I'm very excited to welcome you today. We have a special guest to help us honor the Black poetic voice, Momo the poet. That was the first announcement for today. I'm sure there are others. So who has announcements for us? Julie?
Tuesday is craft night at 6:30 p.m. We'll meet in the office. And then our coffee house is Saturday, March 12th. Show usually starts around 7:30. We don't open the doors at 7. If anybody wants to volunteer, let me know, or if you want to donate some food, let me know, or if you just want to come and enjoy the show, just show up.
The South Shore based jazz fusion band, Obscure Notation.
What's the date?
March 12th,
11?
11th? Yes, March 11th. The 12th is a Sunday. Thank you. If you want to hand out flyers, there's a stack of flyers.
Want to clean up, show up on the phone.
Yes.
Any other announcements?
The Chinese dinner and raffle. March 25th, 6 o'clock. There'll be a sign-up sheet today over on the table. When you make reservations, they need to be paid for before the dinner because we need money to pay for the food ahead of time. If you have any items you want to donate, you can start bringing them in now. If you have any questions on what kind of items, you can see Erin, Donna, Phil, or myself. We can give you an idea.
This is for the raffle.
For the raffle, yep. And I think that's it. And, you know, you don't, if you want to just come for the raffle only, you can do that. There's a space to sign up for raffle only if you don't want to be here for the dinner. Okay?
Bring your own sack lunch.
Yeah.
Any other announcements? Karen.
Just a reminder about our giving tree out front for the winter gear. We've been pretty lucky, we haven't had too much crazy winter, but it looks like it's coming this week. So if you have any like scarves or anything, scarves and gloves are kind of like big. A lot of parts. Reminder if you wanted to bring anything for, you know, somebody needs.
We'll be keeping an eye on the weather for next week's service. So we will make an announcement if it's too much snow, we should do it virtually. We'll let everyone know. Keep an eye on the email. Last call for announcement. Oh, Susan.
I'll just mention that, what was it, Friday night, there was a fundraiser for the youth that go to Star Island, the end of June every year. And there was a group of maybe 20, if not more, say youth, they were like 19 to 22. And the talent was amazing. And they did a great job cleaning up. They cleaned up things that we left behind. And so it was a really nice evening.
It was an open mic, right?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe they'll come to ours.
Susan, do you want to mention bowling?
Oh, okay.
Oh, and the kids in RE and some parents, maybe a couple other adults were going bowling on Sunday, March 12th. Right after coffee hour.
Well, I'm gonna cut off announcements from there since we gotta get moving. So with that, I'd like to welcome up to the pulpit our affiliated minister and special friend, Reverend Judy.
I want to welcome you. Thank you for your kind welcome. Welcome my new friend, adopted daughter, and sister, Mo. Will you stand up and turn around and let people see your face? I need to say how this all started. I was going to do a service on Black poetry, and Rick said, "We found a Black poet in Rockland," and I said, "Oh, but I have my service poem. Probably two." And so I said, "But I'm really flexible, and I want to meet this one." So I went online and I looked at the website and I thought, "Oh, I like this." And then we got together and we ended up postponing, as you know. And so we've spent some time together. And quality time really bothers me, but quality time, I have gotten to know a sister poet. And you're gonna get to know her too, and it's all consuming in the phone call.
Facebook message. Yeah.
What's that?
Facebook message.
Close enough.
Our generation doesn't.
Don't remind me how old I am. I'd like to open with some words by W.E.B. Du Bois. The prayer of our souls is a petition for persistence, not for the one good deed or single thought, but deed on deed, thought on thought, until day calling unto day shall make a life worth living. Come, let us worship. Wait for that. Sit down. No, don't you feel sorry about that.
Please stand as you're willing and able for the lighting of the heavens. And this reminder is being a lot different this week, so beware all the time. To reaffirm the historic pledge, liberal religion, seek that justice which transcends mere legality and moves toward resolution through equality, and to share that love which is ultimately beyond even our comparative reason, that love which unites us. And now the affirmation, please.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
And now please remain standing for our opening hymn, number 389, Break Now My Senses. You'll find it in the great hymnal.
So that is actually 9.
Now you're
Sorry, I gave you Carolyn.
So yes, we can
So it would be heard.
Okay, can I, for those kids and youngest people that are comfortable, can I have you up here in the first row or sitting here on the carpet or whatever feels good for you?
On the floor? They're up front, Maggie.
A million years ago, I was a kindergarten teacher. And that was in the late 60s. Remember those? And when story time came for me to read a story to these wonderful little kids, they were always about white princesses, unicorns, fairies, and a perfect world. And then I found this book, A Snowy Day, The Snowy Day by Ezra Keats. The most book, yes, it's a book, and Momo's going to read it to you. And I was so happy because it was about a little brown kid in an inner city with fences and steps and sidewalks, not perfect gardens, not all of the stuff that rich white folks have, but just ordinary inner city kids on a snowy day. And when I met this wonderful woman, she told me that this is, by the way, we are, I think, 2 generations apart. We won't, don't ask. But we're both women, and we're both poets, and we both have a story to tell. I think that's seriously together. So I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe my ears when I said to Mel, I want to read this. In fact, I want to read this story. So, oh, it's one of my favorites. So I thought, I know who's going to read this, and it's not going to be me. So you tell me your history. I tell the kids, and you get in there so they can hear you, and everybody else can hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah. I can turn the pages for you. Oh, you okay. So we're going to read The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats. So here you go. One winter morning, Peter woke up and looked out the window. Snow had fallen during the night. It covered everything as far as he could see. And you should make sure the kids can keep it. After breakfast, he put on his snowsuit and ran outside. The snow was piled up very high along the street to make a path for walking. Crunch, 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 his feet sank into the snow. He walked with his toes pointing out like this. He walked with his toes pointing out like that. Then he dragged his feet slowly to make tracks, and he found something sticking out of the snow that made a new track. It was a stick that was just right for smacking a snow-covered tree. It is a stick, yeah. Down fell the snow, plop, on top of Peter's head. He thought it would be fun to join the big boys in their snowball fight, but he knew he wasn't old enough. Not yet. So he made a smiling snowman, and he made angels. He pretended he was a mountain climber. He climbed up a great big tall heaping mountain of snow and slid all the way down. He picked
picked up a handful of snow and another and still another. He packed it round and firm, and he put the snowball in his pocket for tomorrow. Then he went into his warm house. He told his mother all about his adventures while she took off his wet socks. This is mommy, yeah. And he thought and thought and thought about them. Mhm. Before he got into bed, he looked in his pocket. His pocket was empty. The snowball wasn't there, and he felt very sad. Yeah, he was really sad because he couldn't find the snowball. While he slept, he dreamed that the sun had melted all the snow away. But when he woke up and his dream was gone, the snow was still everywhere. New snow was falling. After breakfast, he called to his friend from across the hall, and they went out together into the deep, deep snow. That is the end of the snowy day, my friends.
Snack the branch to watch the. Maybe. Unitarian Universalists don't try and make deals with God. But if you're listening, a little more snow this week. Thank you.
There are voice concerns with one another. I'll start. We're able to enjoy this service. Chad. Dealings.
It is the 1 year anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine this week, but like I can't.
Still being.
Enjoy for the little bit of snow that we got. I know it can be an annoyance, but it's always.
We'll let one more. For all the joys and concerns. We carry in our hearts, we may not be ready to share just yet.
May we join together now in a time of beloved community silence, holding these joys and concerns, spoken and unspoken, in our hearts, and reaching out to one another silently in community. Let us be silent together. Amen. And I'd like to read two prayers, one by one of my favorite theologians, Dr. Howard Thurman. In the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of the holy, my heart whispers. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in good times or in tempests, I may not forget that to which my life is committed. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. And another from W.E.B. Du Bois. Now is the accepted time, not tomorrow, not some more convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done, and not some future day or future year. It is today that we fit ourselves for the greater usefulness of tomorrow. Today is the seed time. Now are the hours of work, and tomorrow comes the harvest and the planting. Make me so. Now we will receive your offerings for the wonderful work of this community.
Please stand as you're willing and able for the dedication of find the words in the order of service, for the spirit of truth. I think it's
Makes my life easier.
NPR interview with the poet first. So, Mo, did you grow up around here?
No. So I actually, from New York, if you couldn't tell. And I did a lot of moving around as a kid, just for a plethora of reasons. But I ended up here. Not really sure how, but I ended up here.
We're the winners for that one. So did you go to public schools?
I did. One thing I will tell anybody who listens is I'm a public school princess. I love public school. Like,
You talk into that microphone.
I know everybody.
It can pick her up. It's all right.
I know everybody like kind of is just like cool, but no, I eat it up every time. I love public school. I went to public school all through, elementary school, all the way up to college. And personally, I think it's the best education that I've ever gotten. So yeah, that's my little spiel about that.
Very important. When did you start writing poetry?
So I started writing poetry when I was like 14. Because originally I was writing music, because I come from a family of musicians. And sorry. So I started writing songs and they weren't completely done. So I was like, let's try these as poems. And then I was hooked from the first poem and I was like, oh, okay, there it is. This is the thing that makes me happy. And
Oh, that might be a good place to start. I'd like you to, we talked about, we went around the horn and back again, and we were gonna read other people's poems, and then we decided it was much more fun to do this. And so, would you choose a poem to read to us, but tell us how that poem came to you?
Okie dokie.
And by the way, she's newly engaged.
So this poem is, there was a prompt, and the prompt for the poem was to write a letter, or like a piece of correspondence to something or someone, or kind of like, yeah. And so I said to myself, who better to write to than God? Because we all have questions. And so the poem was published in Full Mood magazine, which is a great little magazine if you're really.
Yes.
Oh my God. I've never met anybody else who knows Full Mood, so yeah, I love Full Mood. Jamie Jill is a wonderful editor-in-chief. But anyways, I digress. So this poem was picked up by them, and it's called Letter to the Void, or God, if you're listening, I could use a little bit of.
I want you to speak a little more slowly, and right square into the microphone so everybody can hear you. Some of us have long ears.
Yeah, I could tell. And for a little bit of context, there is a bit of like flower analogy in this poem, and that's because there are specific flowers for specific things. So for example, hyacinth, gardenias, and alströmerias, those are flowers for funerals. Which, yeah, I did a lot of like weird botanical research. So yeah, so hyacinths, gardenias, and alstroemerias are flowers typically used for funeral services, whereas chrysanthemums, dandelions, and marigolds are used as celebratory flowers. So for weddings and like, you know, baby showers and things of that nature. So it'll make sense in the context of the poem. Maybe I need to lay in a field, eat fruit, curse God, little g because I'm angry. I often wonder if I died tonight, who would lament by my grave? I want flowers and to cry. I want to cry until I am nothing but crackle, until I am salt for the sea to swallow and spit onto the skin of my lover's next love after I have dissolved into nothing. I want to cry myself buoy. I want to cry myself open. I want to cry myself hyacinth, gardenia, and alstroemeria. I want to cry myself chrysanthemum, dandelion, and marigold. I want to cry myself free. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess, I think my original thought was that we would save questions for coffee hour. So if you've got a question, mark it in your brain. I'm gonna, I'll write it down on the order of service, because I'd like to keep us, keep the red going, and I will get back to that. You've got another one in there.
I do have to, have to be prepared.
And I may have to go get that book and ask you to read another one.
Yes, of course. So this poem, okay, for context, I was really, really, really angry when I wrote this poem. I had just lost my grandmother, and I had to go to a funeral of one of my friends like 2 months after that. So naturally I was unwell. And the poem is aptly titled Bitter, because I was really bitter. Because to call a spade, it sucked. So yeah. God is not good. God is not great. I will not thank him for this food. He will not sanctify it or purify it. I think he has bigger fish to fry with smaller mouths to feed. I think there are miracles more deserving of prayer than my measly Wendy's chicken sandwich. If I choke, I choke. This prayer isn't about a damn sandwich anyways. The prayer is about the blood on the app, the body in the bag, the hearts that broke when the coroner came for collection of reoper and rebirth. This prayer is about the ache that I feel, ache and ache and ache, and then nothing. Nothing until something is back, and the something is ache. This prayer is about all the hurt we never talked about, how it wraps around us gently enough so that we don't notice it choking us. And it does choke us, I mean. This prayer is about the rosaries around our necks, the ashes that sear our tongues. How does God love us if he lets us die alone? How does he love us if all he does is harvest our souls? So yeah, I was kind of mad. Because I don't know what happened.
Boy, I fell in love with them. I'm gonna step in here for a minute, because you're gonna read another one, and while I'm reading mine, you're gonna run back and go get your poetry book, because I'm not done hearing it. Okay. But wonderful things happen when creative people get together. And I wanted to read something today too, because we are two poets, 2 generations apart, and we feel the same. We're 2 women. We have very, very, very different beginnings, and both as different as they could be, and yet there's such a similarity. So if you'll step to one side, I just want to point at this, because some years ago, I was introduced to African-American quilting in Helena, Montana, where there are not too many African-Americans. I was, and the main street is called Last Chance Gulch, and there was an art museum there, and the name of the exhibit was Who'da Thought It? And it was, I quilting. I didn't know anything about the African-American tradition in quilting. I kind of knew a little bit about it because I was a quilter, but that was from books. I had never in my life walked into a room full of these things. The English phrase is gobsmacked. I mean, just the most unbelievable experience. And I've been moved ever since. And as a quilter, I thought, oh, you know, I could do that, but I can't. I tried, and I started a poem even to the Black sisters. I don't know, wondering it was okay if I took some of their ideas and tried it, but I couldn't finish the quilt and I couldn't finish the poem because that's not my voice. But meeting and talking with, the poem came back. And I'd like to, this is, may or may not be an African-American poem, but let's pretend it is. It's very old. It's probably was made in the 30s or early 40s. It's simple fabrics, not expensive fabrics. Simple little pattern, not a whole bunch of fancy quilting, it's just tied off with strings that are really fraying now. And I brought it as our symbol. So we go. And I'm calling this Remembering an Exhibition of American Slave Quilts, written by a white woman. And this is not an apology, although it might turn out to be a friend. I see you sitting there, Black sister, stitching by the light of the fire, working on through the fire in your heart and in your belly, alone in the dark of night, when no one can see you, cutting and stitching, turning cast-off scraps into beauty in your few stolen moments alone, and feeling almost, but not quite, free. Years and tears and lives have passed between you and me. And today I'm standing in front of your quilt, the one you made that night, all cleaned up and pretty now and hanging there in a great big concrete columned Italian marble tile, much reviled fancy, rich white folks, heartless. Standing here, I can still hear the beating of your heart, laid open in the colored patches, and see the scattered remains of your earthly light, laid out in those leftover bits, scavenged from the white folks' lives, grabbed up off the floor when no one was looking, and stitched tight back together in the night. I make quilts, you know. I make mine the same way you did, mostly. Only I can make mine of clean new fabric. I can buy what I want. The cost doesn't matter, because it's all about the pattern and the color. I've got it all, you know. Lethal rotary cutters, special invisible marking pens, and as many of those ball-top stainless extra steel extra long quilting pins as a body could want. And this doesn't make me a bad person. But let me tell you something, quilting sister woman. You and every other goddamn mother one of you, that's reading this poem. Listen up. When I stick myself with one of those brand new pointy pins right out of the plastic box they come in, I bleed just as redly as you did on the day you were ripped and the night you were raped. We are two quilter women who bleed when you hug us. Women who can make big things out of little things like privilege and power, or the stunning lack thereof. Two women who dared bare their breasts and their secrets and stitch them into place, making comforts for the body and for the soul. I see it now. I see how we are still caught fast in the colored threads and unraveling edges of polite and savage society. I still hear your beating heart in those tiny perfect stitches, the stitches of your life. Now I can only hope, and yes, all right, goddammit, if I have to, pray, that we and all who are like us will keep on collecting the threads and the patches, and like the captive miller's daughter in the story of Rumpelstiltskin, keep spinning them out, but not into threads of gold this time, but always and forever spinning them into her. Good, after hearing that, Good one. And if I'm putting you in a spot, read the one that you already looked at. There's a couple of copies available at that, the same.
You remember the one that we talked about?
You want to read it?
Not that.
Okay.
I'm reading the one that I wrote that is very similar.
Oh, yeah. Not reading anybody else's quote too much. And what I'm doing with her. Yeah.
I wrote this poem years ago, like 3, 4 years ago, maybe plus 1 because of the Rona. And it was shortly after Sandra Bland was killed. And then Corinne Jane. And all of the other. But I was really upset when I wrote this poem. And when Judy sent me a poem that kind of mirrored exactly what I was saying in this poem. And I said, all right, we'll go with that. So yeah. Yeah. The women I know used to shrink all the time. Now we bare our teeth, drink the blood of our enemies. After all, anything that bleeds be unholy. I mean, ain't that why you call us witches? Call us hysterical. Call me out of my name, please. I could swallow you whole in one bite and use your bones to pick my teeth when I'm finished. Boy, I've roast you. Don't you ever disrespect your mother. And yeah, Crystal, you were right. Every time I walk into a room, my black goes before me while my woman sits in the back where she will neither be seen nor heard. Sometimes my woman walks into a room before me and locks my black out because my black is too black and the only black in the room. And my woman cannot afford to be the stereotype, even though she be angry, even though she be right, even though she be backbone, even though she be one, she be too much of all to only be one, and still she be forced to choose as if you can separate one from the other when you are the bastard child of bondage. My woman closes the door on my black closes the door on my woman and my black be tired. My woman and my black be so tired because she be everything to everybody and don't get none of the credit for everything that she gives. And she gives and gives and gives and she gives until she can't give no more. And then she gives again. She be the meat, the bone, and the marrow. She be the cook, the pot, and everything in the pot, and still have to clean up everyone else's mess. And maybe that comes with the territory. Perhaps Medusa was a black woman. I mean, you know how they be demonizing us when we talk back. And if I am my mother's child, then I have followed in her footsteps. If there's anything that she has taught me, is that looks can kill. And that if I am to serve a man, then I should serve him well done. I do.
And for what it's worth, we're taking the show on the road. We're doing it in 2 other churches. You don't know what the second one is. Hey. You got a good thing. That's right. Oh, we're
So this poem is called Heaven's Light, and I haven't read it to like anybody, but it's fine. So soft is the sunlight that glimmers through our windows. We are one tangled soul inhabiting this space. Lend me your ear, have a joke to tell you. In it, the punchline is my life without you in the picture. A half-hearted attempt at a favorite dish that ends with me ordering pizza and not eating altogether. You recover all that is lost to me and then some. Calling the waves of this ocean heart, I am satisfied. Reckless is the girl who stands on the edge, make me feel like I'm standing on the edge, and still I refuse to jump. Hold me here, hold this heart of mine steady, calming the waves. We can worry about how we'll recover from life later, but for now, I want to watch you sleeping in this ethereal light. Come away with me. Tell tomorrow to wait until tomorrow to be itself, but for now, we are out of the office, so we'll just have to take a message. I want to see the sunlight on your face again and again and again until the pines decay and we are dust and sunlight.
She's got 3 of them out there.
Oh, they're also
But
on.
she'll take orders for more. She will. It's been said that poetry is fiction that is closed out. I just made that up. Thank you. Thank you. For the closing hymn. Before I close out, I just have to say thank you to Mo, and thank you to you, and thank you to you as a congregation for letting me be affiliated with you and for letting us take this risk of being here. It's the essence of Unitarian Universalism, right here, sitting here in your shoes. We both took a risk. Yeah, we did. We did. There's one last thing I want to read before we sing a final song, and all of my readings have been from Black poets or Black theologians. One everybody knows from Langston Hughes. And one that we, particularly poets, because come the revolution, we're going first. The poets and the theologians, anybody who speaks with a voice, anybody who speaks the truth out loud in front of anybody, they never will. So watch it. Don't watch it. Hold fast to your dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field, frozen. Our closing hymn is hymn number 331. Life is the greatest gift of all. Oh, yeah, please stand if you, as you are willing or able.
Thank you.
Thank you. Whatever things are true, whatsoever things are honorable, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. May it be so, and go in peace, Lord. Amen.
Now extinguish the chalice. Please stand as you're willing and able, and recite with me the words found in the order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, or the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.